What is up, my brothers and sisters? It's a lovely, beautiful day here in the state of Texas. It's sunny, the sun is shining, and there's not a cloud in the sky. It is a blue sky as far as the eye can see. Birds are chirping, bugs are buzzing. Ah, yes, the great outdoors. I love it. So, I wanted to talk about kind of how this deception works, and I thought of a story. I came up with a story to kind of give you a scenario on how this works, right? It's been changed, and the names have been changed to have safe protocol for the characters, and or some of the facts are narrated to go with what I need to say. So, here we go. I'm the guy at the campfire that you don't want to tell the children stories, right? They're like, how about a story, right? And I'm like, and all the ladies are like, that sounds nice, right? Let's cook some marshmallows and the kids can enjoy a ghost story, right? And they're like, who's going to tell the story? And they're like, how about Juice? And, if I had a wife, she'd be shaking her head like, no, big mistake. And I'm like, well, kids, I'm Juice. This story is true. That's what makes it even more scarier, right? And here we go. As soon as I figure out what the hell I'm doing here. Where did it go? So, well, that's not what I want, though. Give me a second. Hold on! Before we start the story. Alright, here we go. This is where I'm at. Juice, seen here, had a girlfriend. Her name was Jenny. And Juice spent all his time and extra time off to impress Jenny because he wanted to ask her to marry him. So this is Jenny. There's Jenny again. And Jenny was so beautiful to Juice, but she just had this friend, seen here. And she wasn't the brightest tool in the box, or the sharpest tool in the shed, or the brightest light bulb in the pack. So, Juice, that's Jenny, Jenny's friend. Here's the handsome hunk of Juice, doing all he could to impress Jenny on his time off that he was always gone, right? His phone was off so that he wasn't disturbed. He was almost doing it in secret because he was going to ask Jenny to marry him. But Jenny's friend had suspicion that Juice was up to something suspicious. Juice was not at work. Juice was not doing what Juice said he was doing. Why is his phone off? Why is he getting these sketchy texts? So Jenny became weary of Juice because Jenny's friend was telling her things that may or may not look bad on Juice's part. So when it came time to Juice asking Jenny if she wanted to marry him, Jenny had other thoughts in mind, and so did Jenny's friend. See, the whole time Juice was really doing what he could to go far and out and the extra mile to impress Jenny. Jenny, because of her friend, had other thoughts that Juice was up to something like another missus, perhaps another woman he had met. But no, those sketchy phone calls were actually from someone who was preparing this wedding with Juice. Because he was hiding it, he wanted it to be a surprise. But Jenny's friend, yes, Jenny's friend, told Juice. So do you see how this kind of works? Do you see what I'm getting at? Like, it's not true, but because it kind of looks that way, right? That, like, one would believe it was true. Does that make sense? Like, so in other words, Jenny thought Juice was cheating, but Juice was not. He was really, like doing extra things. He was getting with like planners, right? He was getting a ring. He was like preparing I don't know, maybe she worked at a school and like he was like all the students, right? And he was like, shh, don't tell Mrs. Greats that I'm going to come in, well, future Miss Greats, that I'm going to come in, right? And she's going to be like, what are you doing here? And then that's when you all bust out with your billboards, right? And they're like, he wants to marry you. And she's like, oh my God, right? So while he was preparing this, he has to do it in secret, though, or else it won't be a surprise and it won't be special. So Jenny, because of her friend, whom we call Scandalous, because that's her nickname. And, Juice is like, that's not a good nickname or a good image to place upon yourself. And she was like, but it sounds cool, right? And it's like, yeah, but Scandalous is kind of, So Juice, being the sexy hunk of man he is, prepared all this. But, Jenny was thinking that Juice was cheating, but he was not. He was doing special things for Jenny. So because her friend put these thoughts in her mind, she automatically assumed this has to be true because that's what it looks like. I mean, that's what it looks like, And so what I mean by all this is, as a metaphor, is when there's things in the sky, and the government's been telling you for years and years. At first, it's a secret, right? But, I don't know how many times I hear people say, well, the government's admitted that they're spraying. Well, the government has documents. And I'm like, yeah, well, the government also told you that everybody was dying and very sickly and getting very ill, and that the hospitals were overrun. When I would go to the hospital, there was like nobody there, and that you needed a medicine to help you. And now it's like, now it turns out nobody even talks about it anymore. I know I don't ever hear about it. I don't ever hear about it. I don't ever hear about, I'm sure, people are still dying of certain things, and, maybe you can look it up if you want to, but, as far as, it being up in front in your face, it's just not there. Not anymore. So, out of sight, out of mind, right? Unless it is relevant to you, then obviously you're still going on about it. Well, some people are, right? But they don't push it anymore. They're not complaining about it anymore. You're not seeing it anymore. There's no facial coverings anymore. There's no, you know what I'm saying? It's a dead issue. And it's going to come back, I'm pretty sure, this winter. They're going to make it a big deal again. And, it's a 50-50 in the air whether people are going to believe it or not. I feel like for the most part, with their clever ways, that people will believe it, because they always have a way of deceiving you. And that's what I'm trying to say. Like with the spraying, for instance, they tell you that they did this a long time ago and that there's documents for it and all that. But, when I know for a fact that it is the creator, then why would I go against it? You know what I mean? Why would I go against it? I just can't, why would I? It's been correct every time. So, like I said, with the spraying supposedly going on here, and then with what I'm showing you, that creator used to show me, it was almost like a sign that it was him, right? He was like, wait for my cue. And I'm like, what's the cue, right? And he's like, you'll know. And I'm like, okay, right? Well, that sign is his cue. When people are saying that this is spraying, I'm like, no, there's the cue. He said I'd know when. Well, that's what he gave me. But because Jenny's friend put thoughts in Juice's head, Jenny thought this was happening. She didn't know about all this. Does that make sense? Time and time again, creator comes through, and how can I go against it, man? Why would I? A lot of people ask me, they're like, it could be the devil. And I'm like, yeah, because he doesn't want my soul to go to hell. Maybe he's not that bad of a guy. He's like, you know what, Juice? He's like, you're actually kind of cool. And I'm like, really, Satan? And he's like, yeah, you know what? I don't want your soul to go to hell. Even though I'm trying to take as many as I can with me, you're exempt. And I'm like, gee, thanks, buddy. He's like, no, don't mention it.